Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the LVLing Up podcast, where we have the absolute pleasure to speak with business owners who have done something strategic or out of the box to transform their business. I'm super excited today to get to speak with the founder of Mediable, which is a videography agency that tells the stories of businesses to their consumers. So Orson Lord, welcome to the vodcast. Please tell me a little bit about yourself and patch up my description and tell us all about Mediable.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben. So at Mediable, we help brands be recognized and remembered by telling their stories. And so, the way I would describe that is if you ever think about what we remember the most is we don't remember the things or the what's and ifs of a business. We remember how they made us feel. And stories, generally speaking, are one of the best ways to produce emotions and feelings onto someone.
I love that description. It's a bit different to the typical videography jargon. So when did the videography journey begin for you? Have you always had a passion for the industry, or was there a shifting point in your career?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first got into the whole video spiel and stuff, I'll go all the way back, in high school, I made a video just for shits and gigs, and it basically made me the most popular kid in school for a week. So I'm like, okay, That's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So naturally transitioned to trying to get into the filming career, that Hollywood sort of stuff. And I realized it wasn't really my environment to be around. I'm a very down to earth, get things done. And I found that the Hollywood industry wasn't my style. And then I transitioned to marketing and I haven't looked back. And so what I do is I take my passion for storytelling I found in the Hollywood industry and I apply it now to what I do in marketing to produce more emotional and memorable results.
So it sounds like it started off as an attention-seeking tool for yourself, and now you've turned it into an attention-seeking tool for businesses, which is cool.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
So I want to get into the nitty-gritty of long-form video and marketing. Why do you think long-form works so well when it's somewhat counterintuitive to the short attention spans that we're told humans have become so attuned to?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, it's a two-sided sword, so I'll give you the positive and the negatives. Let's start with the negatives because we all know this is the longer you make a video for advertising, the less people are going to follow through to the end of the video. Now, on the counterpoint of that, to me, that doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is, did this video influence someone to believe in your product, to purchase your product? What actually causes those things to happen? And what I find is, in my personal viewing so far, is that if you make a video short and you get someone till the end, that's great. But if you had a video that was, say, instead of 2 minutes, it was 4 minutes long, and that person wouldn't have held on for the 4 minutes, they're usually not going to be a customer anyway. And what will happen though is if you make that 2-minute video instead of 4 minutes as well, is someone who was maybe on the verge of committing or going to check you out further, they may have still had some underlying doubts or questions, especially with marketing. There's a big wall. We try everything that we can to not click into a business, to see their website, to purchase their product. And so by having an extra long video, it's not a hard ask for them to keep watching, just so you can keep showing off the points and what they're thinking and showing that you understand them. So that by the end of that video, they go, I'm willing to actually have a look at this website now. That was a very roundabout way of explaining it. I hope that made sense.
Yeah, no, totally. So do you think that long form and short form are targeting two different markets? Or do you think they can both target the same market just with different approaches?
Yeah, I think it comes down to, and the best way I can think of this is I don't know if it's targeting two different markets. Well, actually, yes, there is, but it's the more clear way of thinking about it would be, where is this video going to be seen? So if I'm doing these long form 7-minute videos, ideally you don't want them on Instagram or Facebook because those people are very short attention spans. When you think about when we're on those platforms, we're usually on the bus, we're in the middle of something, we're on the toilet, and we're like, we got 2 minutes dedicated to this, and then we're gone. Versus that's why I like making my content more so for YouTube, because when people are on YouTube, they're actually looking for something, and in their head, they've got this time commitment. We go on YouTube, I'm going to keep looking up tutorials till I know this, or how to finish my garden or whatever. And that can be like half an hour, 2 hours. So it's
if you like myself, 10 hours.
Oh, that YouTube rabbit hole at 2 a.m. in the morning is dangerous. So the way I like to say it is, you want to make a video that's going to fit where that person is in their current time. So YouTube is great for long form. And if I'm doing Facebook or Instagram, I would recommend actually doing some sort of trailer version and getting them to commit to watching a longer form thing later somehow.
So yes, they're different markets, but put the appropriate length video on the right medium that suits that market.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. And you can think of it as well. You might think, oh, this target market, they want to watch this long form. But if you catch them in the middle of the workday or in the middle of a lunch break, they're not going to give as much time as at the end of the day. So, awesome. It's much more appropriate to think, where is this person now? Is this appropriate for them now?
That's a great insight. I want to jump into your psyche because I think you're quite a fascinating person. So if you were to receive 1 million views for one piece of content, capped at 1 million, no more, no less, which medium would you most value that viewership to come from? And you can only pick one. So these are your possible options. You got a billboard in Times Square, the Super Bowl halftime ad, a simple television ad, a Facebook video, or 1 million views on YouTube. Or if you've got a clear alternate medium, feel free to say that. So not so much what would be most effective for sales conversions and all that, but which platform does Orson hold in the highest regard?
Oh, okay. So there was Facebook, YouTube, a billboard, TV spot, and there was a fifth one.
Super Bowl ad.
Super Bowl for sure. Okay, you got to get on the Super Bowl. I love the Super Bowl because if you're putting something on the Super Bowl, it goes so much further than just the Super Bowl. Like Super Bowl means you're on YouTube in the top trending automatically. So, but then after that, I would definitely go YouTube. After that, it really depending on who you are, because after like Super Bowl YouTube, my next recommendations really depends on more specific details. If you're someone who works just with the local population, the local area you're in, and it's an all-encompassing service, like let's say you're a lawnmower guy, I think a TV spot might actually not be a bad idea. I don't know what the prices are on TV spots. I'm not specialized in that, but being able to just target that kind of area, I don't think it'd be a bad idea. Sometimes we get a little trapped in trying to go for the most popular option, but because it's the most popular option, everyone's trying to get on there. And as you probably know, the bidding rates for getting an ad on social media just keep skyrocketing, and it's getting to the point where you should really consider the other options.
Awesome. Cool. I've got to ask this question. I ask each guest this question because I always find it so fascinating. Do you have an ideal or dream company or brand that you aspire to build a piece of content for one day? And part two to that question is, if so, where would you publish it? Like we spoke earlier, you only get to pick one medium.
Oh gosh. Okay. So dream company to work for. Oh my gosh. Okay. This one's going to sound I don't know if it's sound a bit dividing and all that, but I think I would absolutely love to be able to tell the story of Tesla. And it's interesting because like they have no public relations or anything like that. But with Tesla, and I can even give an example as to why, like to give you a contrary look. So there's Tesla, Elon Musk and SpaceX. Actually, let's go SpaceX versus Jeff Bezos and his blue thing. Forgot what it's called. The blue brand.
Blue Origin.
Blue Origin, something like that.
And
they're both two billionaires trying to go to space. Basically, I don't want to do anything to do with the Jeff Bezos Blue Origin, but with Elon Musk SpaceX, there's a really powerful mission and story behind it. He's like, I want to create a backup file of humanity on Mars. And I was like, so it's very grandeur, very like, what's that word? It's very big dreams. But he's I'd love to be able to like dig into Elon Musk and have some form of a concise media which can explain who he is and why he's doing this and how he's achieving it, because he does go on about this big mission he's on. It's something very powerful, and I think it could really inspire and influence the world. And the platform I would put that on, one platform to choose. My head's debating between YouTube and Facebook because I love YouTube and what it can do, and it's really good at supporting the video format, but Facebook can reach a lot of people. I think I'd go with YouTube.
Let me plant this seed out there. YouTube, you'd have the potential to play that ad in a Tesla on the screen. So does that sway your thinking at all?
Okay, great. You know what? Change platform, just on Tesla screens.
Just on Tesla screens.
It's just
Exactly.
on Tesla screens. It's like meet Elon Musk. Bloop.
Yep.
So, but yeah, no, I think, yeah, YouTube would be the way to go for that.
That's exactly why I love asking that question, because my mind instantly goes to brands. So Nike, Amazon, whatever, where you've gone to who's the person behind the brand, which I think is just so indicative of Mediable. And obviously Elon being the character he is would be an awesome story to tell. So I love that answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now,
I'll give another little point actually as to why
yeah,
Elon Musk, sorry to diverge a bit.
no.
I have no data to back this up. I have not done a full extensive research on it. So this is not financial advice or anything like that, but take this with a massive grain of salt. But Tesla and anything Elon Musk touches, share prices are way too high for like what they produce. Like he goes like, my share prices should not be this high. My businesses should have failed by now, but I keep getting money from the shares. And what's really interesting about that is I believe the reason those share prices are so high is people believe in Elon Musk. It's their belief of knowing who he is as a personality, because his story has gotten out there in bits and tads, and it's influenced people to not only, it doesn't have to make too much actual sense, but the emotional sense is very strong. People just believe in Elon Musk, and that's why they keep putting money into his companies.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think naturally investors, there's a level of technical investment and then emotional investment. And he for sure captures all of that emotional investment, 100%. Now, very recently, I watched a 5-minute piece of content you put on LinkedIn. And I will say for our listeners, I highly recommend checking it out. You'll get a real sense of the work that Mediable produces. And I'll guarantee you'll be captured for those full 5 minutes. You mentioned partway through how you recall watching a near 20 or 30-minute video, which was essentially an ad, and somehow it held your attention. When you said that, I 1000% resonated with, because I've experienced the exact same scenario myself. And so my question for you is, do you have a favorite ad that pops straight to mind, and why?
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be that ad I mentioned. It's from a charity company called I think it's just called Water Charity. And what they do is they basically told the story of the founder, and they didn't make it this glitzy, glamoury thing. It started nice with his family growing up as a little boy, and then it went dark, because he went, like, as all humans, we go through some dark phases, and it just went right in there and explained like all the bad he went into, like the clubbing, the partying, the drugs. And what this ad was doing is, even though they weren't talking about the water charity for the first 15 minutes or 10 minutes, even, it might have been the last 10 minutes they just had this, it made you really understand the person behind the company. And if I had to explain it, what it did is that I was empathizing with him the whole way. I wasn't just going, oh yeah, that's cool, I get that. That's sympathy. Empathy was, I'm imagining myself as this person, as this little boy growing up with a sick mom, as this lost teenager trying to make value in his life with Rolexes and $1,000 bottles of Chardonnay, and then him feeling hopeless by the end. I was personally feeling that and living his story. And that's was the secret sauce to why it captured my attention for so long. And every single comment down was, how did I watch this for 20 minutes? Because it came up as a YouTube ad. You could skip it after 5 seconds, and I'm just going, nah, I'm good. I'll keep watching.
Yep, I had the exact, and I wish I could remember the ad that it happened to me for. I'm so glad you remember yours, but you really do. You know it's an ad, and you've got that voice saying, this is an ad, just skip. But you want to watch it. It's not that they've captured you, you want to watch it. And that type of work is, for our listeners, exactly what Mediable produces. And I think is such a great way to market. So Orson, you strike me as a man of intelligence, a man of wisdom, a man of philosophy. So I'm curious to know, do you have a book or a podcast that we can leave as a recommendation to our listeners before we wrap up?
Oh, a book or a podcast? Let me know. Let's see. For your audience, is this who's your audience?
Businesses, small businesses.
Small businesses. That's a really tricky one, because I'm trying to not stay inside my jar. I'm like, oh, I got these great branding books, but in all honesty, it's a lot of time, and I'd say just get someone specialized in that, because it's a small portion of the time you want to spend. But you know what? If I had to give one book as a recommendation, I would recommend checking out Primal Branding. And maybe it's because it's the most recent book I'm actually still reading, about halfway through it.
I'm making notes.
Yeah, it really explains to a human element why branding matters. And if you were to read this book, my recommendation is come in blank-minded. He references every kind of brand you can think of that's big and notable. And what I notice as humans is if he mentions a brand we don't like, we go, "Oh, that's shit advice." But don't do that. Just come in and just try and see it from their world. And what he does with this book is he breaks down it into 7 core principles, and they all relate to us as humans being part of a tribe. It's what we desire. It's what we're built to naturally do. So, and the way tribes work is we want to be part of something bigger than ourselves. So the reason why we might go to one company over another is because we believe in that company and we believe it's something that we want to stand for. You know, like let's think of a classic example. So, like let's go with Apple. It's probably the most polarizing brand I can think of.
100%.
When you go to Apple, if you're a fan of Apple, you're going there because you believe in what they stand for, which is technology should be simple. It should be easy to use, intuitive. Nothing should ever not work. And they're on a mission to, I guess, how would you describe Apple? They're on a mission to basically change technology to fit everyone. And if that's something you believe in, you just naturally go there.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. So that was Primal Branding for anyone who missed that. Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much for affording me your time and coming on the podcast today. I thoroughly enjoyed our chat, and I'm sure our listeners can take many great tips related to videography and marketing. Before I let you go, where can the people find you on socials?
On socials, the best place to contact me is on LinkedIn. Just look for my name, Orson Lord, Orson. That is my real name, and I was born with it. The other place you can check out is my website, mediable.com.au.
And you guys are based in Brisbane, correct?
We are based in Brisbane, and we can film any projects across Australia, though. So don't think that, you know, oh, I'm in Sydney. It's like, no, we've shot in Sydney. We can do that too.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you all on the next episode of the LVLing Up podcast. Goodbye.
Thanks, Ben.